If you're shopping for a convertible car seat and you have innovation and safety on the mind, then I am very excited about showing you this review of the BabyArk, a super innovative convertible car seat. Here's the review. All right, here is the BabyArk convertible car seat, but I'm going to start by showing you the base. Here is the base. Now, this base is a really interesting product. Now, the first thing is, if you have a Nuna Pippa infant car seat, and I happen to have a base here, it has a very similar base to the Pippa. Rigid latch and a load leg, right? So if you look at this, very similar, rigid latch and a load leg, and you may have heard a little beep because there are different sensors. There are actually 14 sensors in this, and it's connected to an app, which I'll show you a little bit later, to make you know that you've installed it properly. Okay, now this is a car seat developed by engineers who make armored vehicles, technology for armored vehicles all around the world. Also the technology for helicopters and even flying cars. They created I'll show you, in here, there's something called a Safecoil system. This is a super shock absorbing braking system that's installed that's part of the base. And so what that does is, during God forbid, a crash, there's just a limited amount of forces that go into a crash, and these coils absorb the energy so that the child doesn't take the forces of the crash. Pretty cool. But one of the things that make this really amazing is how easy this is to install. So I will close this back up, and I will show you. Okay, so there are these little blue lights here that show, go in. It kind of looks like like on an airplane where you can go toward the exit. So let's take those little arrows. What you do is that comes out. Those little blue lights are flashing. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to click it in. It went from blue to green, so I know that the rigid latches are installed correctly. Now what you're going to do is you're going to take the seatbelt. Now I know that you may have been taught, you may have heard that you can't use a seatbelt with latch at the same time, but that's not actually true. A typical latch, or like a more common latch, is a soft latch that's kind of on the tether like this. But if you have a rigid latch and the seatbelt, and if you have rigid latch, you're allowed to use the seatbelt and the rigid latch at the same time. That's true with a product also like a Kleck Fumf. Now, what you need to do always is follow the instruction manual of what you need to do is follow the instruction manual of the car seat for any car seat that you have. You also should follow the instruction manual of the car manual. Car seat manual, car manual, very, very important. So what you need to do is you need the rigid latch and the seatbelt. And the last step is to lock the retractor. Then what you do is you push, this turned blue, push that button, and beep, that comes up as well. So now you have an anti-rebound panel. Remember those Safecoil system. Now this looks like plastic. This is covered in plastic, but there is steel within here, steel to steel, so that you know that it's installed safely and strongly. And then what you're going to do is you're going to lower the load leg. Click, lift, nice and secure. And it turned green. Yay, it turned green. Now I know that it is put in properly, and it's really, really secure. Now this load leg and the anti-rebound panel, remember what this does. You are in a crash, God forbid. What's going to happen is the forces are going to go forward by and large, and what this is going to do is going to slow down the motions of the crash. And what the anti-rebound panel does is that it will stop the recoil after the crash. Crash, recoil, slows it down. And again, what that Safecoil system does, it also absorbs the energy. It's kind of like a braking system. Pretty cool, great. So now that you have the base installed, now let's talk about the car seat. So when you get the car seat, you will have infant inserts in it, but I'm going to do this demonstration without the infant inserts. You're going to use this, you stop using this at 11 pounds, according to the instructions. And now you're going to put this rear facing into the car, and it went rear facing just like that. I'm going to lower this down because you want the straps just below the shoulders, right from behind the shoulders in the rear facing position. So you'll lower that down, a non-rethread harness. And then the adjusting mechanism is right here. Great, so now you're in that reclined position in the rear facing position. I don't know if you're wondering about the design of this car seat. It's really nice. This was designed by the same designer who makes literal Ferraris, really, really high High-class design. Okay, I love it personally. Okay, so now it's in the rear-facing position. Now, I insist on rear-facing as long as possible, and this car seat goes rear-facing longer than any car seat that I know of. It goes rear-facing to 55 pounds, and while I'm like lying on the fabric right now, it's also flame retardant free, so there's no added chemical flame retardants to this car. Okay. So now you're in the rear-facing position, and now if you want to turn the car seat around into the forward-facing position, what you do is, underneath here, what you're going to do is you're going to lift up. What you're going to do is you're going to lift up this little. There's a little handle inside, and this stays up. So it's going to be. So this is going to stay up when it's out of the car. So it's going to be impossible for a child to sit down in the seat if this is detached to the base. You cannot, may not, never, ever, ever use this car seat in a car without the base. It has to be used with the base, and that's an extra safety mechanism inside here to make sure that that doesn't happen. And then when your child is at the maximum rear and height limits of the seat, then you're allowed to turn around the seat, and then you put it in the forward-facing position. Really, really easy, and now you are good to go. Also, so in terms of like a rear tether, there is a rear tether. It obviously passes NVSS 213, so it has to be tested in lots of different positions with a tether, without a tether, all those things. But the way that this is optimized is to be used with the load leg without the tether, because because through crash testing, the load leg does a better job slowing down the energy than using the tether, but there is a tether like in the back of this as well. Cool. Now, let's talk about the chest clip. So there's a pretty cool chest clip. There is like magnets, see? Magnets. Now, the magnet just guides the chest clip, but it doesn't actually keep it together. There's actually a locking mechanism inside here, but it's super convenient. Really, really easy and convenient for your child. There's also magnets on the side, so when you put your child in, the straps stay on the side. That's pretty cool as well. While I have this here, I also want to show something really cool. Side impact protection. I'll show you two things about side impact protection. Side impact protection. I'm sorry, I mumble. I do. I know, like 1,000 YouTube videos and I still mumble. And inside here is something called a D30 polymer. This is one of the most shock-absorbing, get the picture here? Shock-absorbing materials in the world. It is a really, really high-end material. In fact, we've done tests where we've dropped a raw egg from 10 feet onto this polymer, and the raw egg does not crack. So your child's head is within this section of the car seat, and they're right up against the D30 polymer, so if, God forbid, you're in a side impact crash, that is going to, again, be shock absorbing. But even more shock absorbing, they call this BabyArk. It's like these side impact pods on the side. So you can see here, if the window is here, if you're, God forbid, crashing from the side, you have these little pods, and you can see this this little kind of like stick thing coming out of it. That goes into another little metal pin that's in here. So if you're, God forbid, in a crash comes from the side, this catches the crash, the pin blocks the energy, and look, the energy comes behind the child. So again, they're doing everything possible to keep the energy to go away from the child that's inside the car. So if it's behind the thing, crash on the side, no problem. I just also want to mention there's no expiration date on this thing because even though it is sort of like covered in plastic and obviously materials, inside of it, the materials inside of it are things like carbon fiber, which is stronger than steel and one of the lightest materials in the world, also steel and aluminum. So the thing that's keeping this car seat solid are the carbon fiber and the aluminum and the steel, etc., and that doesn't ever degrade. Now they'll check this after 10 years to make sure that it's safe, but just like a car, which you have to have like regular checks and regular maintenance so it could last forever and ever, similar to this, you can use it forever and ever, which is also more eco-friendly, so this thing is not going to end up in the landfill one day. Do you have to replace the straps one day? Maybe. It's the same straps as a seatbelt, but if you think about it, seatbelts don't really expire in your car, but even if they did, you could just replace the seatbelt. Oh, I didn't even mention the app that you have with this, so let me show you the app. So there is an app. Now the app is going to give you a play-by-play information about how to install the car seat, so you'll know it's done correctly. You can really, it's very easy to install, so you don't really need the app to do that, I'm just saying. But also you're gonna put your, the age of your child in the app. So if, like for instance, I have an 11-month-old child in my app, so in the forward-facing position, it's going to tell me that I have this installed incorrectly, because at 11 months, your child needs to be rear-facing. The other thing is that it has a detector to make sure that if you, God forbid, left your kid in the car, we hear every summer about these horrible stories about people leaving kids in hot cars. Well, this detector, if you leave the car, you're going to get alerted, and your friend, not your friends, or whoever you want, your contact list, your partner or your mom or your mother-in-law or your dad, I don't know, is going to be contacted. You left your kid in the car. You'll be alerted first, but you'll know that you won't ever leave your kid in the car, which is also really cool. Okay, and now I just put this back in, and it's red, and it says the BabyArk is not connected properly. So I'm going to like fix the load leg and put, oh, this is not in properly. Oh, now it's in properly, and it turned green again, so I know I have it right. So it does all of those really neat features, but again, the bottom line is that they have really put so much into this car seat that I've really never seen before. If you want more information about the BabyArk, check the links below. Please drop a comment below. I'm really interested to hear what you think about this. I hope you enjoyed the view, and I'll see you at another video.